The opinions expressed on the X and Y show are the sole opinions of the host. Please note, there is no intentional desire to offend any member of the listening audience. With that said, if you still feel offended, tough shit.
It's time for the X and Y show with your host, Mr. Roosevelt. He talks about man topics, lady topics, and relationships. He talks about love, sex, and infidelities. He even gives good tips. There is no other show that compares to the X and Y show.
Oh yeah. Sit back, take your clothes off, and relax. It's time for the X and Y show, where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. The only place on the planet that tackles the topics that everyone wants to talk about, but no one is brave enough to address. Nothing escapes X and Y, baby. Now, here's your host, Roosevelt Colbert.
And greetings. Welcome to another segment of the XY Show, and I'm your host, Roosevelt. Hope you had a good Halloween, nice and fun with your family, with your kids, and that kind of thing, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic. I hope you found time to have fun with them. This is a special edition of the XY Show. I usually don't release shows on Monday, but in lieu of the elections tomorrow, I felt inclined to do a special episode. So this is a special bonus episode of the XY Show. I just want to rap to you for a minute before tomorrow, and I also want to give you my prediction on who will win. I'm not going to hold you long, as the preacher used to say when you were little. I'm not going to hold you long, but I just want to rap to you. Last time I did make a prediction. I predicted that Trump would win, not because I liked him. I was just seeing shit that made it very evident to me that he would. And unfortunately, I was correct. He won. That was 4 years ago. I can't believe we actually made it through this. So, before I make my prediction, I want to tell anyone out there who's saying that it's not important to vote, I don't want to hear that shit. It is important to vote. Get your ass out and vote. If you didn't vote during early elections, early voting, get your ass out and vote. If you have to stay in line for 10, 15 hours, you stay your ass in line and vote. It boggles me how people holds the notion of the voting so low stock, and yet motherfuckers are standing in line for 2 days to get the new Jordans coming out, or 3 days to get in line for fucking Black Friday and a flat screen TV. But you won't stand in line for a couple of hours to vote and use your power to have a voice in this country. Set your priorities straight. Get your ass out and vote tomorrow. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but just vote. It is important. Now, I want to say that this election is totally different than the last one. This is not. There was a lot of factors why Hillary Clinton lost. Anyone would have lost. A lot of people mad at Hillary because she lost against Trump, and anyone would have lost. It was just too much to get over. Hillary didn't have a chance, and I'll tell you 11 reasons why she didn't. There were simply, too many people that simply just didn't like Hillary Clinton for various reasons. They didn't like her husband. They didn't like how she handled when, President Clinton got his dick sucked and she stayed with him. It's people have different. They didn't like her when she was senator of New York. They didn't like her when she was Secretary of State. People just hate that woman. So that was just, they weren't going to vote for her. They wouldn't, so that's the number one reason. Somebody don't like you, they're not going to vote for you. That's the number one reason. Number two, the press. The press gave Donald Trump last time in the last election so much press time. It just, I'd never seen that before. I mean, every time Trump took a shit, they were there to see how many times he wiped, if he used, toilet paper, did he round it with his hand or did he leave it on the roll? They gave you detail how he took a shit. The press created that fucking monster. CNN, Fox, all of them. They created them. They created that monster. When it was the Republicans, it was like 40 of them running at that time. It was 30 or 40 of them. Nobody else could get a word in because the press was so interested in Trump and what he was saying. He's threatening not to show up to debates and, they rearranging their debates to accommodate that motherfucker. So the press created that monster. They helped. That was the second reason that Hillary lost. The third reason was the Benghazi episode. Folks blamed Hillary for that since she was the Secretary of State at the time. So there's still people to this day saying that she should go to jail because of blood on her hands, the way the Benghazi situation was handled. So people still blaming her, and we'll always blame her for that. So that was another reason why Hillary lost. That's just three big reasons. The fourth one, the emails, of course, and Comey's dumbass dropping a bombshell fucking 2 weeks before the election about an investigation about some more fucking emails. Comey, the former FBI director, by him doing that, anyone that was on the fence, they said, oh yeah, I'm not voting for her. I thought she was crooked, now I'm not voting for her. Because this silly motherfucker came 2 weeks before the damn election saying that there's more emails that we're going to investigate and look into. Stupid motherfucker. And they end up firing his dumb ass anyway. So, but that's the fourth reason why Hillary lost. Fifth reason. Silly, stupid ass Bernie supporters. And yes, I said it. For those of you out there who are supporters of Bernie and you were disgruntled last election, I'm talking to you. Silly, stupid ass Bernie supporters who were disgruntled for the way Bernie got fucked, basically, by DWS, that's Debbie Wasserman Schultz, for those of you who don't know, and the Democratic Party. At the time, she was the head of the Democratic Party, and she blocked Bernie Sanders' campaign from accessing the DNC's voter data files. So she helped with that bullshit. And so the way Bernie got fucked, many of his supporters were angry. They were disgruntled. So what did they do? They either didn't vote, which was a vote for Trump. Stupid motherfuckers. Some voted for Trump, or they voted for a third-party candidate, Jill Stein or Gary, what was his damn name? It was Jill Stein was the Green Party and Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson was a libertarian. So some people voted for them, out of protests and stuff, which was essentially a vote for Trump. So that's another reason why. That's the fifth reason. That's another reason why Hillary didn't win the race. The sixth reason, I'm going into that, there's many stupid-ass people that were voting for third-party candidates. And I know you're saying, why are you calling it stupid, Roosevelt? That's all right. Yes, it is, you're right. But let's get real. Yeah, I don't like the two-party system either, but that's what we have. Either you're a Republican or a Democrat. Anything else is insignificant. Get the fuck out of here. If you don't believe that, come on. So you had a lot of motherfuckers out there voting for Gary Johnson, the Libertarian, and some silly bastards voting for Jill Stein from the Green Party. I'm not saying that they weren't bad, they weren't good candidates, but they had no fucking chance of winning. So you, by, anyone that was not a Bernie supporter, or if you were a Bernie supporter, anybody who voted for them, it was essentially a vote for Trump. You know. So that's the sixth reason. Seventh reason. Many people just don't vote because they some stupid motherfuckers. You're always going to have that in every race, but since all of these other factors were playing, as role as well, that only made things worse. So, that's always going to exist, no matter what race it is. It's always going to be some stupid motherfuckers that's not going to vote. That's just period. That's just the way it is. Nothing you can do about that. But that is a reason. The eighth reason, people put too much stock in the polls. Every time you look around the polls, Hillary was up by 50 points, and she was up by 30 points in this state, and she was up by 20 points in that state. And people stayed home because, a lot of people don't know that, a poll is bullshit to me. I don't give a fuck if you're talking about state or national. They're all bullshit. You're sampling a certain small segment of the public, and whatever they say, the polls go that way. It's some dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life, and people actually put stock in that shit. Now, a lot of people saying, well, the polls were right. She did win the popular vote. So, shit, she didn't win the electoral. So, people need to stop listening to those polls and all that shit, because it really just confuses people. Some people actually believe that if the polls were, so up in favor of a certain candidate, then why go out and vote? It's already won. So you'd be surprised how many motherfuckers stayed home because they figured it's won. They don't need me. So that's another reason. That's the eighth reason. People put too much stock into polls. The ninth reason. There were some stupid, silly-ass people who voted for Trump thinking he was this awesome and mighty businessman that would use his business expertise to run the country. They wanted someone different, someone that wasn't a politician. They wanted a change in D.C. And he gave us a change, all right. Things are more fucked up now than they ever been. The country is more divided now than it's ever been. And this nation is in total chaos. We got the pandemic going on. The economy is fucked up. And we got this superb business guy that's running things. And actually, he's making a lot of shit worse. So he did make things different. I will give him that. But that is the ninth reason. People wanted to change. They wanted, he's a billionaire. He must know what he's doing. He's a smart guy. He went to Ivy League school. Shit. That's number 9. Number 10, many voters wanted to maintain their America for as long as they can. So they heard Trump's racist dog whistles. They heard it. They heard it loud and clear. So they went out and voted. I mean, it's just be honest. There's some racist motherfuckers in this country who like what he was saying and still like what he's saying. So he riled them up. And that helped him win. He's still riling them up. But that is the 10th reason. And lastly, the 11th reason, people just didn't want to vote for Hillary because she's a woman. She's a woman. I mean, believe it or not, there's still some sexist motherfuckers in this nation that refuse to vote for a woman, no matter how good she is, no matter how qualified she is, no matter what, they will not vote for a woman, no matter what. So, Hillary's a smart woman. I mean, she's a very smart lady, a lawyer, and I mean, she's very smart. She was not She's a former senator. She was a Secretary of State. She was more than qualified to do the job. But a lot of people didn't care. All they saw was her sex. So there were some people that just didn't vote for her because she was a woman. Those 11 reasons why Hillary lost the race. That's hard for anyone to overcome. No candidate would have overcame that. And now as a result, we got this silly motherfucker in office. And what do we have? We have a potential for civil unrest if this motherfucker loses. Or if he wins. There might be some people on the other side too that might say, hold up. Who knows what's going to happen? Nobody knows. But we have a potential for civil unrest. This is the first time in my life that I remember something might happen like that in this country, where after a candidate win, we might have a possibility of civil unrest. That's what we have now. People are dying, and this clown is saying that everything's okay. People are dying from the pandemic, and this dude is saying that we're rounding the corner, everything's okay. We have a president who is listening to witch doctors instead of respectable physicians and scientists. A president who actually is encouraging violence in his own country. If I lose, tear this shit up. That's basically what that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. We have a president who, is actively for months been trying to suppress the vote, trying to suppress the election. He don't want people to vote. And that's the result that we have. Businesses boarding up like it's a hurricane coming before the night of election. Gates in front of the White House where protesters can't get to it. That's what we have in this country now. So when I hear people saying that it's not important, I won't matter. One vote is not going to matter. It's not going to, that's, I'm thinking to myself, this has got to be the most stupidest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. Who says that? And after this, if you thought that last time, after these 4 years, you definitely shouldn't think that now. Everyone should see just how important it is to vote. Because when you don't vote, that's what happens. We get some lunatic in office. And I must say, there's been, if you don't know, I'm a Democrat, even though it's none of your goddamn business. But I'm a Democrat. I don't fucking, And I've been living, through Republican presidents, and I didn't like a lot of shit they did, but, it wasn't like this. It wasn't like this. This is the first time in my lifetime where, I'm not, it's almost shameful to say, because I don't want people to think that I voted for him, or because, I got people, friends overseas, that talk to me like, how did you guys vote for that son of a bitch? I said, I didn't vote for him, and he's embarrassing. He's an embarrassment to this country. But, I don't want to steal too much of my personal opinion. This is just, I want to rap to you a minute before the night before the election. That's all this is. I'm not trying to steal too much of my personal shit. But, so those are the reasons why Hillary lost. Now, I'm going to give my prediction of who's going to win. I don't think it's going to be close. I think that Biden will, what was I going to say now? I lost my train of thought. Biden is going to win. It's not going to be nearly as close as everyone thinks. I think it's going to be a landslide. I think it's going to be such an ass kicking that it won't matter how many lawyers Trump has, or, judges that he has in his pocket or whatever, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. This race will not be close. I know a lot of people say, well, you don't know that, Roosevelt. You don't know. I do know. And this is why. I know this because I feel that this is the most important election in my lifetime. And I think that everyone, well, many people get it. There's still some people that didn't vote and that won't vote tomorrow. But I think for the most part, most Americans get it. And even the most racist people in this country, I think that, they will, a lot of them will put, the first time, they went for the shit. Saying like, what can he do? He's going to do what I want and keep the immigrants out. He's going to build a wall. He's going to make America great. He's going to bring the coal industry back. They bought all that shit the first time. This time, I think even the most racist motherfucker will say, I don't like immigrants. I don't like minorities. I don't like blacks. I don't like Hispanics and all that. But I can't put this motherfucker back in office because now he's bringing my country down. I'm naive to believe that there are Americans out there that refuse to allow this man to ruin this country even further. I'm just that naive to believe that. I think a lot of Americans, racist or, we can't put this motherfucker back in office. We can't do 4 more years of this. He's got to go. I got to go vote for his ass to get out of there. I'm naive to believe that. So, when people say they don't know and they don't know and the polls are blah, 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 I do know. I have a good feeling, and it was a feeling last time when I predicted that Hillary would lose. Everybody was calling me crazy. You don't know what you're talking about, Roosevelt. Get out of here with that shit. Trump gonna beat Hillary. Get out of here. And the night after, everybody's sitting with a face that, like just what happened, what just happened. So I have a feeling this time that it's not even going to be close. Biden will win tomorrow. He will win. Now, when Biden wins, I saw this post that I want to go over with you, and then I'll be done. It was posted by LaShawn Jones. If you want to catch him, he has a podcast as well. It's called Life and Love with Erica and Sean. It comes on Wednesdays nights, and it's live on Spreaker. And they also have a music podcast, Music 101 with Tall Sean, Saturdays live as well. And he posted something that I've seen, and I thought that I should share it because it is relevant to what's going on now, and it's really unfortunate that I even have to read this shit, but that's the times we're living in. After Biden win, there are some things that I think that you should do just in case if some civil unrest do jump off. He posted something. Do you have a post-election safety plan in place? What are you going to do when the election is over and there is civil unrest? So these things might help you out a little bit. Schedule paid time off if you have it and need it. Plan to check up on loved ones. Ask loved ones to check in with you. Give yourself grace time to process this shit. Refill your meds. Write down what helps you the most in the times of anxiety or depression. Keep that list handy. I feel like I'm reading a hurricane list. Pack your bag. Your important documents and ID, your meds, clothing, toiletries, snacks, cash, cards, phone, laptop charges, personal protection. Okay. Grocery shop before 11:03. Refill all important meds. I already said that. Refuel your vehicle and check the spare before 11:03 tomorrow, election day. Where would you stay if you had to leave your home on short notice? Do you have an evacuation plan in case a riot happens in your community? Learn alternative routes to safe areas. For undocumented immigrants, do you know where your closest sanctuary city is? Public transportation may be down if civil unrest breaks out. What alternatives do you have? Do you have cash on hand for essential emergency purchases if card readers are offline? Which I don't. I might have to go somewhere tonight to get some cash. Do you have access to a battery-powered radio for important updates if the power or cell signal is down? Be prepared and be safe. Now, like I said, it sounds like I'm reading getting ready for a hurricane or something. But I'm reading to give you a little help to think of some things that you might have to prepare yourself for just in case, some civil unrest happens after Biden wins and take the presidency from Trump. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be a landslide. Even if it's a landslide, it's still going to happen. It still might happen. But the fact that I'm even talking about this is crazy. I never thought this would happen. So anyway, be safe. And all of you who have not voted yet, please go vote tomorrow. Make your voice heard. Because you're voting for you truly. I know you hear it all the time on TV and all, but you are truly voting for life and death. This is it. You got to vote, because this country cannot survive another 4 years of Donald Trump. For those of you who are angry that I'm saying that, I don't give a fuck. So, with that being said, that is it. I just wanted to wrap to you for a quick second, and good luck to everyone. I hope everything turns out okay. We're going to get through this. And, hey, I'll see you later this week. I usually sign off with something, but I'm not going to say that tonight because it just doesn't feel right. But just love everyone and be safe. Love your families. Protect them at all costs. And I will see you soon. Later.
You've been listening to The X and Y Show with your host, Roosevelt Colbert, the place where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. Join us next time. You can now put your clothes back on. Or not.